So, as an MRP myself, a military relocation professional, I have had the privilege of working with lots of military buyers and sellers over my time in real estate. So, during that time, I have found that helping service members find new homes certainly to be a challenge, no question, but lucrative and personally rewarding. As niches go as a realtor, this is one where I can really appreciate the value of being able to be a part of a service member's life and their story and what they need to be able to do to move not only themselves, but to be considerate to their family and potentially a move totally across a country. Why? Simple. First off, this niche is recession proof. The buyers have an absolute need. They have 0% down payment options. They have 100% financing options. The leads are hot and they have to close quickly. So you being able to be on top of your game and understand all of the provisioning and everything we're going to talk about today is going to be paramount for you to be successful for these folks. With all of the changes that are happening in the U.S. military and with our international affairs, we have announcements that are coming out of the U.S. branches saying that troops are coming home, that military members are going to be PCSing from base to base, and that is good for the real estate market. But is it the right niche for you? What we're going to talk about today hopefully will help you decide, but I want to walk over what is it to work with a service member. Is this a specialty that you feel like you can take on? Are you understanding the skills and the requirements that are necessary that you're going to need to become a military relocation professional? And then finally, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I use to market and to close transactions with military buyers and sellers here in the state of Florida. So there are three big reasons to become an MRP and to make this your primary niche. And this is why I think it will be a lucrative move for you in real estate with the upcoming elections and with the new presidential season that will begin at the first part of this next year. Number one is they are not moving by choice. The main reason you want to work with military relocations and why it's such a successful niche with realtors is pretty simple. Military personnel are not just considering a move. These are permanent changes of stations, PCS, orders in hand. They are required to move to the new location that has been assigned to them. This often includes a new location that they have never been to before. More often than not, when you're talking about local expertise, it's going to come into play to the entire family conversation. Your schools, your job market, the potential drive back and forth in their commute to the base. What additional educational options are there for their military spouse so that they can continue to grow the family and potentially reseat themselves into a society or a change in a completely different state and community? While some military personnel and families are going to choose to live on base, most commonly, they're going to be living in the nearby communities. Sometimes base housing isn't even an option for a lot of these folks, which means that realtors are going to play a vital role in military relocation. With the trusted advisorship that's necessary, you're going to often be their first contact in the new city. Number two would be easy financing through the VA loan program. Easy financing through the Department of Veterans Affairs. These loans are just one more reason why this is a recession-proof niche. These are zero down payment. These are 100% financing. And it's even bigger deal in our current lending environment where they are offered traditionally the best interest rates with the least amount of fees. And there are requirements for certain lender as well as brokerage fees to be waived for these military members. Number three would be the recession-proof job that you're in front of. Military personnel don't typically get fired. Regardless of what's going on in the big economic picture, the U.S. military will not be laying anyone off. There will not be we're closing the Tampa base and we're relocating all of our members. Those who are actively serving in the U.S. military have a guaranteed role, a role in which keeps this country safe and keeps our democracy intact, many of which require them to travel and relocate regularly. I know growing up, I met many service member families, and in and out of the schools that I lived and grew in internationally, these military members would be cycled in and out, typically within a 2 to no more than a 3.5 year period, where they were consistently in and out of the markets. Those who are actively serving in the U.S. military, although guaranteed, it's going to require them to uproot their family at any given moment and without much notice. These are people with very regular, dependable housing needs, and the larger their family, the more requirements they have, and the harder it is in a housing market like what we have today to get them seated in a good, dependable neighborhood and community. These are perfect clients for the real estate professional. The way that you're going to be able to take care of them is by building a rewarding career as a military relocation professional. The basics you understand. Let's go over how you get started working with military members and make sure that this is right for you. And again, I'm going to give you a quick overview of a process that we go over no matter which niche you decide to choose, but these are important requirements for you as a realtor and here at Keystone as a consultant that you absolutely must deliver on. These are your metrics of success. These are your KPIs. Before you get too excited, start packing your bags and start changing all of your marketing and getting ready to go and brand yourself as a military professional. You should know there are some basics that you're going to need to have before you can start working with the military. First, you should probably live near or be ready to relocate yourself closer to a military base. Military professionals traditionally live in cities where bases are, for obvious reasons, easy to get to and secure for their families. So if you are not living next to a military base or willing to relocate, you're probably going to have a hard time working with military members because you're not going to have the proximity and you're not going to be able to get close enough to base to be able to help them as frequently as they need. It's as simple as that. I can give you, some big bases. You got Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Hood in Texas, Fort Campbell in Kentucky. Those are the 3 largest bases in the U.S. right now, but there are dozens of smaller bases scattered around the country and for all sets of service members in each of the different military divisions. If you are not sure if there's a base near you or if you need to scout out, you can actually go to military.com. This is a government hosted site that will make sure you know where just about every military base is. And it'll show you all of the active bases that are in your county and in your state, and the different ways that you can communicate inside of those military groups to advertise yourself as a realtor too. Next, you are going to need a very strong online presence. Military buyers and sellers are very tech savvy. They do their research, they do it online, and they typically have to do it sight unseen before they're ever even allowed to be in the state to start following their PCS. Having an online presence is a must for you to work with the real estate in the military relocations profession. You don't have a website, you don't have strong social media skills. If they can't look you up and start getting used to who you are and learning your personalities and the things that make you relevant to them, you're going to have a really hard time generating military leads. Next, and probably most important, you're going to have to be highly organized and be able to work under high pressure timelines. Service members generally have very tight deadlines to close on, and you can imagine you've got to be very organized for them and very detail oriented so you can communicate quickly and efficiently because they have more important things to do. This means you've got to understand their timeline in order to be successful for them as an MRP. Step 2 would be learning. You need to understand the typical timeline of a military home purchase. It is really important for you to realize that most military personnel are in a huge time crunch to find a new home. They've got a limited amount of time for them to be able to see the houses, which means fast pace, lots of listing presentations, lots of buyer tours. You're going to be able to have to work fast, and it might take you the full 2 weeks dedicating to them to see as many houses and to talk to them about as many areas as possible around the military base. So your expertise and your understanding of everything in advance is going to be paramount for that success. You're also going to have to work fast. After their 2 weeks of tour, before they actually begin their PCS orders and start packing up on the other side, they've got to make sure they've got a house secured and the process has been started, which means your offers have to be strong. You absolutely need to make sure to check out our video on how to write strong offers. There is keynotes in there about how to handle this for a military professional so that you make sure to represent the VA well. And a traditional seller is going to shy away from a lot of the VA processes because mainly it's a longer process to close on average, and the inspections and the requirements for the condition of the home are at a much higher standard than even an FHA required loan program. You're going to have to know this well. You're going to have to steer your military professionals away from those houses that they may be interested in because the seller's not interested in entertaining a VA buyer.